Let's get back. Let's get back to the dragging incident, shall we? You've seen this many, many times. The passenger who was dragged off the plane has lawyered up. That's the news. An airline policy of overbooking is now very much in question. Look who's here, Brian Kelly. He's the Points guy, founder and CEO thereof, and he follows the airline industry very, very closely from the inside, I believe, Brian, right?
Well, we're pro-consumer.
Okay, right. So
yes.
I'm a consumer.
Yep.
I'm sitting in my seat on the plane.
Yep.
I bought that seat. I paid the ticket. I'm sitting there, and some guy comes along and says, "You've been bumped. You're off." What are my rights?
Well, now, that actually does happen quite a bit because air marshals will sometimes have to be placed on a flight. So this does happen where, the airlines can kick you off. In general, about 50,000 people a year get bumped for overbooking situations. So the airlines are allowed to oversell the flight, but generally they handle that before you board the plane. So really, unless a federal officer is bumping you from your seat, you really should not be deboarded from a plane like what happened in Chicago.
If I am sitting there peacefully and I've got a ticket and I've bought it, and I've paid whatever I paid, and I'm sitting and I'm peaceful and I'm not drunk and I'm not shouting and screaming to anybody, you have no right to take me off.
It's a gray area. Technically, it's United's plane, and they can argue that it's their private property, like asking someone to leave your house. But I think it's a little bit different. I think this is going to go to court. Because right now I think United's going to say, well, we asked him to leave, and once he didn't comply, then we're allowed to kick you off. But they do have 25 set rules, like drunk passengers, where they can kick you off. Boarding their employees to take your seat isn't one of them. So I think United stands to lose here, and I think the silver lining will be more protections for consumers.
I don't think they'll go to court. I think they'll settle way before they get to court.
Yes. It's amazing.
But in general terms, when you're on a plane, you are subject to the authority of the pilot and the cabin crew.
Correct.
And they have ultimate authority.
They do have ultimate say, and I do want to make sure, sometimes planes are overweight, sometimes you have to get off. So my general advice is, when the police or captain asks you to get off, you probably should follow their instructions. But, I think this man's being seen as a hero, and I can see why, because passengers have just been treated like garbage. So he's finally standing up for, a consumer right. So I think you should follow crew instructions, but, airlines are out of control in how they treat their passengers.
That's Ashley Webster right over there. He's trying to constrain himself because he was bumped on a flight on Christmas Eve in Chicago to make way for a family which had arrived very, very late.
Right. A family of three. Myself and my wife were there. They had 3 seats. They needed 3 seats, so they kicked us off. Our baggage was on the plane. We'd already pulled away from the gate. We came back into the gate. And by the way, they flew my luggage to the destination, so we were left in a hotel with no luggage, waking up on Christmas
And you really have no
Day.
recourse. And they always call the police to help out. And I think that's the big thing. So CEO Oscar Munoz said this morning that they're going to stop using the police to enforce their customer service, which I think was great to hear from him. Probably a little too late, but...
May I make a suggestion? Why don't airlines behave like Delta, which I believe doesn't give you a discount coupon for a future Delta flight. They give you a gift card from American Express or Bloomingdale's.
Delta's really proactive about it. They give you an American Express gift card, which is like cash, right? So just like they want to maximize profits by overselling, on the flip side, when you want to get a passenger off, start bumping the compensation up. I mean, it's crazy to think United lost how many hundreds of millions in market cap. They could have just went up, $2,000. I'm sure someone would have bitten on that hour-long flight, right?
Well,
be more proactive.
There's this movement, Boycott United. You think it'll come to much?
Look, I think their big issues are in Asia right now because there's these claims of racism, and United's huge in China. So this is going viral in China. I don't think United's going to go down from this, but I think they're going to learn a very, very hard lesson. And they need to come out full-throated. Oscar said that there's going to be an investigation. I'd like to see United, not just hope for this to pass through the news cycle, but actually come out with customer-friendly initiatives saying, and maybe even say, look, we're not going to overbook anymore. I don't know.
Well, wouldn't it help if there were 10 or 20 airlines as opposed to 4?
But JetBlue doesn't overbook. There are certain airlines. You don't have to overbook to make a profit, so...
JetBlue does not overbook?
Yes, JetBlue...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think in very rare circumstances, but...
Okay. All right, I'll remember that, actually.
Yes.
Brian Kelly, you're all right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Now...